stay in your lane. Yeah, we get a little homie, you been getting some brain. Rapping about how you smoking weed like a chain, but I gotta be the one to throw the industry shade. Told you I've been fed up, get your bread up, you don't drop shit. Dropping so much fire, 2018, it's obnoxious. Put me on the 16, watch the numbers rise, just went from the bubble.
You are now tuned into the Dads Who Live podcast. You have your host, Tyler Gaeta, and I have with me co-host
Jonathan Baumgartner.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Do the housekeeping up front here. Please give us a like, share, 5-star review. We do this shit for free. All we want to do is add some value to you. So if we add any value at all, please pay the fee. The fee is not monetary. We don't ask for any dollars or cents for this. You just tell a friend. You tell a friend, they tell a friend. That's how we grow this thing through word of mouth, which is the way I like to go. Share it on Instagram. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Apple Music. Share it on Spotify, share it on YouTube, whatever it may be. We really appreciate your guys' support. We have badass apparel, hats, hoodies, beanies, fucking t-shirts, tanks on www.dadswholivedapparel.com. We are on Instagram, Dads Who Lived Apparel, Facebook, Dads Who Lived Apparel. We also have a Facebook group. Again, this is a group called Dads Who Lived Official on Facebook of 55,000, almost 55,000 like-minded dads trying to be the best selves and stay fit. If that's something that interests you, check that group out as well. So we wanted to do, I guess we'll just jump right into this one. We haven't done a Q&A in a while. So, John usually comes up with some pretty fucking good questions for me, and I have not seen or heard these questions, so I have no clue what they're going to be. And I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So yeah, let you take it over.
Well, the first one, we always talk about your circle and your influence, and how that directly impacts your life. So if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, past or present, who would it be and why? Most importantly, why that person, why you're going to have them in that dinner meeting?
That's a good one, man. I really don't.
I honestly don't think I've even thought about past or present. Like, I know who I want to surround myself with, but dialing it in, we always talk about get real detailed with what you're manifesting and what you're doing and who you want in your circle and who you have to be like to become. So for me, when I saw that, I was like, oh man, I better go ahead and do this myself for my own.
So this is not like a easy question for me because I am horrible with like names. People, like, I'll read books and I don't remember anything.
Right.
I remember the book and the content, but I don't really give a fuck about who writes it. And I really stay to me and what I'm doing. I mean, I have coaches, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that have passed, that are really fucking cool that I should be throwing in here that I am just not going to know their names or even know who to say. I guess the first few names that come to mind with me, I've had dinner with Andy Frisell and Ed Milet through a REIT, which was really fucking cool. 3 people, I would say, I'd still say like a personal dinner, like that's different than a REIT or Arete. I'm sorry, a REIT, Arete. Because Arete, we're at a syndicate. There's a bunch of different people around. Right. It's not just me having a personal dinner with them. It's you get a few minutes together personally, and then it's a lot of people around at the same time. I would definitely say Andy Frisell would have to be in there. He's one of my top influencers in my life. And Ed Milet would definitely have to be in there for sure. They're probably the most 2 impactful people that I've ever met or that have coached me. Awesome. And have helped me along my way. I would say, one of the main reasons why I want to meet with those guys too is because they are. So Andy Frisella is a fucking master manifester, and I'm very good at manifesting too. And I've been manifesting for a long time and it works. And I believe it. Like I believe in gravity. We were just talking about this the other night, but Andy Frisella is very fucking good at it. And to be able to pick his brain on things that he doesn't address in the podcast, like philosophies of life or the afterlife or, God, manifesting, how manifesting ties into God, because, he believes in God as well. And I do too. I believe in God, but I also believe in manifesting. And these are things that are conflicting. Right. And so it's like, how do you believe in all this stuff, but still believe in your God? And it really gets tricky when you try to believe in God as far as in like religious views, like Christian views or whatever. Yep. It really gets tricky there. And I do believe in God, but I also believe that it's so tricky. It's so tough for me, man, because it goes so many different ways, right? Like, one, you could say, hey, the Bible's 4,000 years old, so maybe some things got lost in translation. I've definitely thought that before. And then two, you can say, hey, maybe things did get lost in translation, but not in the way as to where like the Bible's untrue, but the way is like we're not interpreting it right anymore.
Right.
And
Correct.
so maybe it means this, maybe we think it means this, or we've been taught it means this, and the religion thinks it means this, but it really meant this.
Right.
And it's so hard to say. So I think those would be some really cool fucking conversations. Ed Milet, I would want to talk to because he is very, he's a very good manifester as well. And he knows a lot of that stuff. But he's very in tune to himself, his own emotions, and really just kind of the psychology of how your brain works.
Nice.
And so I think that'd be really cool too. One that just popped up into my head, and this actually wasn't one of the three that I was originally thinking of, but I think it would have to be one of them, would probably be Dr. Joe Dispenza.
For sure.
Because he is the master of manifesting. I mean, he's
physical walking proof.
Yeah, probably right now he's probably the best teacher on manifesting that there is out there living. And I 100% believe that if you control your brain, you control your life. If you control
100%.
yourself, you control your life. And all these things, manifesting allows you to control your life. And so I've always been big in manifesting. In my program that I have, I came up with Alpha Manifest 369, where we manifest 3 times a day. And I've been doing this, but I actually just listened to a recent podcast from Andy Frisella. I think he put it out last week. I think I listened to it last week. But he started talking about manifesting, and he talks about it like here and there. But he doesn't really talk about it a ton. And he went into manifesting on this podcast, and he was like, man, he's like, I honestly think that, I used to think that action was like 70%.
Right.
And manifesting was like 30. He's like, anymore, I really think that manifesting is like 70%.
Right.
And the action and the other shit about what I do in my life is more like the 30.
Right.
He's like,
the result of
he's
it.
like, listen, man, I this is from his own podcast. He's like, listen, I went from running First Form for 10 years and having to move back in with my dad because I was so fucking broke and couldn't even afford to, either sleep in my fucking, First Form office or move back in with my dad. I moved back in with my dad, and I started manifesting then. And he goes, 4 years later, I was driving for Lamborghinis and flying private jets. So you tell me.
Right.
He's like, you can argue with me all day long.
He's a believer.
But I believe in this, like I believe in fucking gravity. He's like, it's you can't see it, but it's fucking there. It's a law. It's a rule.
Right.
And even in this book that we're reading, you actually turned me on to it yesterday, and I started reading it last night. I'm 10 pages in, only 10 pages in, but it's already fucking mind blowing. This book is 100% about how you control. God, what is it that they said last night that was so profound to me? I can't think of the exact words, but it was basically like,
it's like almost every other paragraph you read is so profound.
but it was like it's things that I know that I believe to be true in my own life, but the way that they word them, and this is like old Egyptian shit,
right? Hermetic.
And, the way that they worded it was like basically like the world lives within your mind, like the all is within your mind, like you are the world. You know what I mean? Like everything that we have lives within our minds. And that solidifies to me with everything else that I know as proof as far as manifesting goes in my life that whatever the fuck I see, what you see is what you get. Like it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Whatever you see out of life, whatever you can see for your life is what your life will become. And I really don't know of any other fucking way to say it other than like what you believe is what you're going to get.
No matter what.
Like no matter what. If you think that if you think your fucking wife is always cheating on you, eventually she's going to fucking cheat on you.
Right.
Right. Like you think that your wife's a good woman, she's probably going to be a good woman. And this shit sounds so stupid. I don't know how it all works, man, because it sounds so dumb. Like even in that scenario of like, oh, you think your wife's going to cheat on you. You think she's always cheating on you. She will down the road. That makes it sound like, your thoughts are making her do action, which is really weird. And you might say like, oh, just because you think someone's going to cheat doesn't mean they ever do. But what about this thought? Like, what about when you think about her cheating on you constantly, even though she's not, then you start acting differently to her and not treating her the way that she should be treated. So then eventually down the road, she grows distant and distant and distant from you and then does find somebody else. You know what I mean? Like,
cause and effect.
like that's how thoughts can change the things. And so those are just some really big, powerful, influential things that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And it's like, dude, so this ties into the question, but it's kind of off topic. I do want to find that book. What is it called? Just so I can.
Kybalion or
The Kybalion?
Kybalion.
Just so we can tell everybody in case you guys.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say was funny is last night we were on the phone and I'm like, dude, I sent him this book, this PDF. He's like, what is that? I'm like, you just got to read it. And he's like, so I call him and I'm trying to explain to
the Kybalion. So it's the Kybalion. And this is like ancient Egyptian teaching. Ancient Egyptian teaching.
The whole preface of that book, it even goes in there, like all the ologies that have come about.
Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece.
All religious theologies.
There's 7 laws.
Have been based on these 7 laws. It doesn't matter. They all, and you can go.
Any
Christian,
religion
Catholic,
that you have spins off these 7 laws. They put it into their own way, but they all spin off these 7 laws, and these are 7 laws of life.
And so like when you said, you're trying to describe what you read, but it's such a complex subject. Like for us to like explain how manifestation truly works on a physical, spiritual, and mental world with factual like evidence, it's hard to do. But when you start reading this book, you're like, holy shit, thanks for explaining it so well that when I read it, it clicks. Now I understand.
Yeah.
And it
Dude,
talked about
it's a hard read.
And it is a hard read.
And there are some long ass pages.
I'm a super nerd, and this book it's not made to just be read like cover to cover. It's a teaching book. It's a book for you to read one section and learn something, because that section 20 pages later is going to become relevant. That teaching, that law that you agreed with in the first 2 or 3 chapters, they teach you a lot of laws. And if you agree with all these laws, then they go through, okay, well, if you said this law is true, well, then if that's true, this is because of that law being true. It's super learned, and the way you have to read it is as a teaching book, as a guide.
Dude, I fucking Jamie was eating her night snack. She got done reading before me. We read 10 pages a night, both of us, but this is like long. Like it's just some long ass pages, and you got to read slow. It's a hard read, but it's so interesting. It's worth it. But she's chewing her chips, and I'm like, babe, it's like, what? I'm like, this takes a lot of fucking, takes a lot of focus. Like, can you quit chopping so loud for a minute?
I'm about to go 3 times.
Yeah, I'm about to go in the other room. Like, this takes a lot of fucking focus to get this. But you have to be ready to read this book. You don't just 100%. Jump right into manifesting and read this book. It even says in the book, like, this book will come to you when you're ready for it.
It only comes to you when you have the ears to receive the knowledge it contains.
And the eyes to see it.
Yeah. Dude, I'm glad you're sharing, and I'm laughing because it's I can't share this book with nobody else. So I'm so glad when I wasn't even gonna text it to you. I've been reading for like 3 days. I'm like, God damn, how do I even explain this? Like, I know you have to read this book. Yeah. And so last night I was super jacked to finally like be able to talk to someone about the book.
Yeah, right.
Because it's truly a deep read. But for someone who's, go look it up, go read it. You're gonna thank.
But Dr. Joe Dispenza is a guy that got into a wreck, bicycle wreck.
Right.
Got hit by a car on a bicycle doing like a bicycle race, and was completely paralyzed. Basically like fractured his spine in multiple spots, and was told that he would never walk again. And he was paralyzed, I'm pretty sure, from like the waist down.
I can't remember it's a very, very.
And he lay. If you guys look up Dr. Dispenza, but he laid in bed and he. It sounds fucking crazy, guys. I get it, but his body healed itself from being told by every doctor that he would never walk again. His body healed itself through his own thoughts.
Yeah.
So he would sit there every day. He laid in a hospital bed by himself. He would sit there every day and think for 6 to 8 hours a day about reconstructing his spine. And he would picture his spine reconstructed and him walking and running and doing all these things. And his spine fucking started fixing himself. And now he's perfectly fine. Like there's like nothing ever happened.
The trick is it wasn't just 6 to 8 hours. It's you start at the beginning in the manifestation, at the very beginning of the process, visualizing, thinking. You said before, you got to smell it. You got to feel it. You got to have your like even with your eyes, we don't see with our eyes, right? Like we don't see with our eyes. Our eyes perceive what's out there and goes into our brain. So you can close your eyes and feel and see and sense and all those things. And he said in his book, he would get going. And if he lost focus, he would start back over.
Yep.
From very beginning.
Yep.
Until he
the first vertebrae.
Until he mastered to be able to go. I can't master longer than 30 minutes of sitting in silence and in my thoughts for 6 hours. Be able to work this process to not lose concentration, to not lose focus, but solely be thinking of every little intricate thing. Very impressive to get to that state, but I mean, walking.
So this guy, I mean, he's a doctor and he is the fucking guru. So check Dr. Joe Dispenza out if you really want to look into manifesting of the power of the brain. But I truly believe that life is what you see and life is what you make it 100% more than I ever have in my entire life. And it's so crazy because, you know, I was telling a buddy of mine, so I've been getting into Airbnbs and real estate, right? And I'm really into it hot right now. Like, I love it. This is part of my passion that I found. Like, I love buying land. I love buying Airbnbs. I love being able to even just owning land in different places. Like owning different parts of the world for me is just so cool. Like, I just love it, man. And so, you know, I was telling my buddy about this Airbnb. So I went to Moab, Utah last summer. So less than a year ago. And there was an Airbnb, a condo that I could have bought there that I stayed in this badass resort with the pool and all this stuff. And I was talking to the owner, actually became friends with the owner, and I probably could have got one around $800,000 then. And right now they're going for $1.2 million, less than a year later, right? And so I talked to my buddy, or I was telling my buddy about it, my buddy Paul about it, and I was like, hey, you remember those condos that I was telling you about? They were $800,000. Now they're going for 1.2. He's like, oh, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, I wish I would have had the money to buy one. But I kind of paused after I said that because I was like, man, I had the money. I mean, I didn't have the money, but you never really have the money. All you need to do is get the financing, right? And so it's like, could I have made it work then? Yes. But the difference is I didn't believe that I could. So I didn't even try. Like, if you don't believe you can, you're not going to try, right? So like less than a year ago, so I started buying Airbnbs less than a year ago, right? I've already got 2 and I'm working on my 3rd in less than a year, right? And I said when I started buying these, like, oh, if I can buy one like once every couple of years, I'll be doing pretty good. I've already got almost basically 3 by the end of this year within a 1-year time frame, right? And so it's like, what is possible? What's possible is what I believe is possible, right? So when I was sitting in that condo and I was like, oh man, $800,000, I'll never be able to get financing for that. Like, I didn't believe it was possible, so I didn't even fucking try. And when you don't try anything, it's never going to be possible. But the truth is could I have probably made it work and got financing for it? Probably. I probably could have. I've already got 3 since then, less than a year, right? That are, you know, expensive. These are not cheap ass Airbnbs that I own. They're expensive ass Airbnbs, like $1 million Airbnbs. And, anyways, so it's crazy. So this is like a prime example. A prime example of this is what happened yesterday. So I got my Okoboji condo closing, which is going to happen. And this is funny because I sat on a podcast and talked about this exact same thing about, can I make this happen? I don't know. It's scaring the shit out of me. You know, things are going to be tight. Things are going to be this. Things are going to be that. But I'm going for it. I'm betting on myself because I've never bet on myself and not won. Right. Ever. And so I said, fuck it. I'm doing it. Well, this thing's happening. Like, it's going to close. I ordered the furniture already. Like, it's fucking happening, you know? And so like I won. And so I'm already fucking thinking about the next one before this one's even closed. And I got a hold of my agent that, my lender that gives me the money for all these Airbnbs. And I talked to him last Friday about this new idea, which is 40 acres of land in Wyoming that I'm going to buy, and I'm going to build a fucking badass shop house on it and Airbnb it out. It's a gated community. It's going to be fucking sick, surrounded by mountains. There's a fucking private lake. There's Snowy Range ski resort. There's a national park. There's fucking snowmobiling, hiking, 4-wheeling. Dude, it's just badass. And Wyoming's so beautiful. And I'm getting all excited. My lender's all fucking excited. He's like, yeah, man, this is fucking awesome. Yeah, let's do it. I got to talk to the board on Monday, but we're so in. And so he calls me. And so Monday, I'm all excited. I'm talking to the realtor and I'm planning a trip to go drive and see the land. Actually, tomorrow is when I'm leaving to go see this land. And he gets a hold of me Monday afternoon and he's like, hey, man, got bad news. I brought it up to the board. They don't want to do any more new construction. They feel like we have too much new construction already. And this one's out of our lending area because it's 7 hours away. So they don't want to do new construction 7 hours away. So they said, we're out. They're like, hey, if you find something pre-existing in that area, we'd still probably be able to handle it, but we don't want to do new construction. Well, you can't fucking find anything in Centennial, Wyoming right now. Right. Nothing. Like, there's nothing for sale, and especially not anything of value. And what I'm planning to do, like I find this land and build this shop house. I think I can build it for like $500,000 and it'll be worth $1 million as soon as I'm done. Like I talked to the realtor yesterday. He's like, oh yeah, it'd be 800,000 to 1.2 million, depending on how crazy you go. And so I'm like, fuck dude, I have instant 500 grand in equity, you know? And so I got kicked in the dick. You guys ever get kicked in the dick? Like that was a kick in the dick. But the crazy thing is like me, I'll say it. I've said this before, limited Tyler and limitless Tyler. Right. And so I used to be limited Tyler. Even back when I was talking about that condo in Moab, I was limited Tyler. Right. And so I got kicked in the dick and I'm like, all right, so does that mean this is just done? Like this plan's done? Like it's over with? I said, fuck no, dude. I'm still going to go fucking look at this land. I actually might just bring cash and make them a lowball offer and try to buy it. And then worry about the loan later. But either way, I'm going to go look at this fucking land because guess what? I can't manifest it until I see it. So if I don't know what this fucking land looks like, or like right now, I'm just picturing Wyoming and I know what the house I'm going to build looks like, but I don't know exactly what this land looks like. If I can actually go see this land and I can make mental images of exactly what this fucking land looks like, and then I can picture my house because I have designs of the house I want to build, and then me walking out of my front porch and seeing the view that's the actual view, dude, I know I'm going to get it. It doesn't matter. And they even said, they're like, man, it sounds like a shoe-in though. Like we wish we could do it. I guarantee there's a local bank that will be able to lend you a construction loan to be able to do it. So it's like, okay, so I can either be limited Tyler and say, oh, fuck it, it's not in the cards, I'm done. Or I can say, no, this is what I want. I'm going to make it happen. I don't care if I got to call 12 local banks. I'm going to find somebody that'll give me the construction loan to build this motherfucker, you know? And that's exactly what I'm talking about with talking to these three dudes, because that's exactly what these three dudes do. And that's how they shape their lives to what they want them to be. Man, if I would have known this shit and had this fucking mentality, I want to say confidence, but it's really not even confidence. Part of it is confidence, but it's more so just like knowing of the law and how the world works. Like if I would have knew this is how shit worked when I was in my 20s, dude, I'd be so much farther ahead now. I'm fucking 33 now and I'm finally just figuring it out, you know? But hopefully I can get this out to you guys and you guys can figure it out before I did, you know? Like I want everybody to fucking win. So that was a long answer to one.
That was good for three. I was gonna have you throw a dead person in there, but another question just came to me. I was gonna say, if you were 18 years old, what could you go back and do? So kind of you already answered that by saying, you know, if you were 20 years old and knew that the law of the universe, the law of the law of what we're talking about. Now that you know all of that, how, instead of going back to teach your 18 or 20-year-old self, how do you plan to intentionally teach anyone who comes into your circle, primarily your son, primarily anyone? It says in the book, it's going to fall on deaf ears until you're ready to receive it. I want to teach my son the same thing. So what's your thought? I mean, your boy's older, so maybe you have a better approach for this timeline, because I want my son before he's 18 to know, like, hey man, my brain is so damn powerful.
That's so simple. Such a good question, but so simple. Live it.
Fact.
Like that's the best teacher that you can ever have. And I got a couple different answers to this question, but as far as the children go, live it. Live that fucking life. Like monkey see, monkey do. Like you can sit there and tell your kids as much as you want, but if they see you doing opposite, they're going to do opposite, right? They're going to do what you do. So live that fucking life. Be that example. Take the risk. Know that you control your world. Tell your kids that they can have or be or do anything that they want and that they're not limited, but also show them through you being unlimited in the way that you live your life. Like that's the biggest thing. I've said it before. Like I feel like I've done, I have conflicting thoughts. I feel like I've done pretty well for myself, but I also feel like I'm nowhere and I'm just starting all at the same time, which actually I think is a good perspective to have. Right. It's kind of a confident but yet humble perspective to have on yourself. But I've said before, I've said it multiple times that like, man, what I'm going to do, like I haven't even begun. And so I know where I'm going to go and the things I'm going to do are great, like not good, great. Right. And, but the things that my son's going to do just because he grew up in this shit that I didn't grow up in are going to be even greater. Like I already know he's going to fucking kill it. He will trump anything that I do in my entire life. Before I die, he will trump it, which is awesome. As far as helping people, as far as like seeing or knowing these laws or knowing that life is what you make it, man, really all it takes is a desire to want more for your life and more for yourself. So I coach men, and really all that it takes is someone saying like, hey, I'm all in, like I want more. I see you have it. I see other people have it. And I want this for my life too. Right. I want to be happy. I want to have nice things. I want to have drive. I want to have ambition. I want to have fucking, I want to wake up every day and be excited about my life. Not just want to go back to bed or depressed. Right. I want to have good relationships. I want to be married. I want to have a good wife. I want to have kids. I want to be a good father. When someone says that they want these things, I can help you. Right. That's the whole point of like, in this book, how it says like, hey, this book will come to you when you're ready. That's the same exact principle. So I don't go seeking people to coach. People come to me. And so when I might put out like an advertisement or something like that, like, hey, join this program or whatever. But either way, if you click on that shit, you're still coming to me because you desire change. You want something that I have or that I'm offering. Right. And, if people want to change their life and you're coming to me, then you're ready to learn, then I got you. The rest of that's easy. As long as you have the open mind and the capacity to willing to change and want more for yourself and your life, the rest of it is like this shit really isn't that fucking hard, man. This shit's not that hard. Like it's tough building this lifestyle and building the consistency or forming the habits. But once you get it, it's God, it's so hard to explain. Like, is it hard to maintain this lifestyle that I live every day? Yes. But is it also so much more rewarding and better than living the other lifestyle that I used to live as Limited Tyler? 100%. So I don't even think of it like that. Like I enjoy the hard. Like that's the difference, right? Like when I was Limited Tyler, I didn't like the hard. I was lazy. Most motherfuckers are lazy, right? But when you get into this and you build this lifestyle and you're able to create these habits and live this every single day, you like that. Like I like that. I like the hard. That I like the challenge because I'm growing. I like to fucking grow. I like to move forward. I like to fucking win, right? It's addicting. So is it hard? Yeah, but it's fucking worth it. And the reward that you get is way better than any hardship that you'll ever chase or endure.
What's harder, doing and gaining positive rewards, or doing and not gaining and doing it again and not gaining and doing it over and over for the rest of your life? When you really step back,
let me ask you this: like, when are you never not gaining? Like, doesn't that really come down to perspective?
The person who hasn't approached this mindset.
Okay.
In the other mindset, still the person who is still the victim mentality.
Oh, I gotcha. No, dude, it's way harder to be the victim. Like it's way harder to sit in that life than it is to sit in this life of challenging yourself and like living a hard life, but growing and being rewarded. Because
say it again, it's harder to sit in the depressing, the negative. It's harder to stay there, and you're in it. You don't realize until you get out of it for a longer period of time. Like this is actually an easier life. I have more rewards. My highs are higher. Happier. My highs are longer. I've controlled my lows. It is so much more work to stay in, and you think it's not, because you're lazy, but it's way harder to stay in this negative perspective.
Dude, people get so used to suffering, they don't even realize they're suffering.
Yes.
That's like, it's a sad fucking truth. But people get so used to their lifestyle of living this shitty ass, mediocre fucking life that they don't even know that they're living it. That's why the majority of the world lives it. That's why they call us the 1%.
You said this the other day, and or something similar to, but this little.
And let me say too, real quick though, the world does need everybody, right? So this podcast isn't for everybody, right? If that's where you're at and that's where you want to be, like the world needs people that do all the jobs, right? Not everybody can be a fucking killer entrepreneur, right? Or the 1% or whatever you may be. But if you're listening to this podcast, you're not one of those other people. You're somebody that wants to grow. You're somebody that wants to be that. And that's what we're here to help you do.
Imposing your will, your wants, your beliefs, subject to is the phrase. So either you're subject to the world and its way of doing things and society and its pressures, you're subject to it, or you can subject your will to the world around you.
Yep.
Same
yeah,
two
either
words.
you impose your will on the world, or the world will impose its will on you.
And all you did, it's the same two words, and all you did was change. And again, when you say it, no, you're subject to my will. It even sounds more powerful. Like I am in control. You're subject to me. I'm not subject to what you want. It gives you it's a power statement. It's a control statement. No, you're subject to my will of what I want in my world and that I'm creating. One final question for you.
Yeah.
What is the number one thing people misunderstand about you, or that you've been misunderstood for, or the most common thing that you think people misunderstand about you?
Oh, fuck, man. I don't know. I mean, that's a hard one for me, for me to answer, because I guess I really don't know nor care what people's opinions are of me. I don't know. I mean, you'd probably be able to tell me that better than I would, honestly. Knowing me as one of my best friends, you'd probably be better to tell me that than I would, because I've got things that I think, like that I feel and that I think people think, but that's more probably just my projection of my own insecurities about what I'm doing than it is really what they truly may be thinking, because I really don't know what the fuck they're thinking. Like I said, I really don't care. So I don't give it a lot of thought. I guess one that comes to mind that I've dealt with a lot is that people, I've dealt with a lot, and I know a lot of people deal with a lot of successful people or highly skilled or highly caliber people deal with a lot, is the whole like jealousy thing, and the whole, I don't even know if it really, I guess jealousy is part of it, but if I show a win, I'm not bragging. I don't give a fuck about the material thing that I'm showing you. I care about what it took to get that thing. Like, so I'm celebrating all the hard work and the lifestyle changes that I've done and made through years to get this thing. I don't give a fuck about the actual thing. Like, I just bought a wakeboard boat, a badass wakeboard boat. I haven't posted it yet, but I probably will at some point. I don't care about the boat. Like, you could take the boat away and I'm going to be just fine. I've been broke. I've had nothing. I don't give a fuck about the boat. I grew up poor, but what I care about, the win to me is what it took to get that fucking boat. Because I've grinded my ass out for 13 years to be able to buy the $100,000 boat. Right. And so that's a big misconstruent, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Misconception of people is they see, me or people that have nice things post their nice things and they think, oh fuck, they're just bragging. Right. And to me, it's not, dude. Like, I've had things, I've not had things. Like, you can take my things away from me and I'm still going to be me and I'm still going to be fine. As long as my family's fucking healthy and happy, I'm good, dude. And I'll get those things back because I already know how to do it. I've already done it before. So you can take that shit from me, I'll get it back. Doesn't matter. But another thing I'll say too is, like, what's so crazy to me is when you come up and, again, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I don't even really consider myself successful yet because I compare myself to elites and I'm not elite yet, but do I do well, better than 95, or I guess you could say 99% as far as income brag goes of the population? Yes, I do. I am in the 1%. But to me, I'm comparing myself to billionaires. So I'm nobody. I'm comparing myself to guys that do $100 million a year in sales. Like, I'm nowhere. I'm nobody. And I will get there, but I'm not there yet. But it's crazy to me because when you come up and you surpass people and you're not even trying to like surpass them, this is just what you're doing, because I've had it happen to me in my own life. I want to see everybody win. So when I love to surround myself with guys that are winning, and I love to surround myself with guys that have something that I don't have. Right. At some point, like, you don't have to have everything I don't have, but you got something I don't have. Maybe you're a better father than me. Maybe you're a better husband than me. Maybe you're a great golfer and I want to be a good golfer. Right. Maybe you got more money than I do. Right. Maybe you got the Ferrari and I don't yet. Maybe you're flying private jets. It doesn't fucking matter. Maybe you got a better faith than I do. Whatever it may be, something that I want to gain is who I like to surround myself with. And when you come up and you actually surpass some of these people, they will get envious of you. And I've just never fucking understood that. And I've dealt with it with like really good friends in my own life. They are successful as well, which is probably the harder part because, successful people are very motivated. Right. So when you're with successful people and they're super motivated like you are, but I just look at it differently, man. So I see there's two ways to look at this, right? We're two people busting ass being successful, right? If you get a little bit ahead of me, I'm not saying fuck you. I'm saying good job. Right. And I'm saying, okay, I'm going to use that as my fuel to push harder to get ahead of you. Right. So that's one way to look at it. That's the way I look at it. And then there's another way to look at it, which is like, oh man, fuck that guy. He just got ahead of me. You know, like, and people get envious and jealous of it. And it's like, why, dude? I don't understand that, because I truly believe, again, what you see is what you get. What you want for others is also what's going to come to your life. So if you want other people to win and to fucking do great things and build great things and be successful, even if they're more successful than you, that's going to continue to bring blessings and success into your life. But if you want people to fucking lose just because they're beating you and you're a fucking egotistical asshole, you're going to fucking lose too. Like, that's just going to fucking happen. Sorry. I don't make the laws, right?
Right.
It's like one of the rules of the fucking world. It's just, I believe it like I believe gravity. And so, yeah, man, when I see people buy nice shit, like you go out and buy a Ferrari tomorrow and I don't have a Ferrari yet, I'm not saying fuck you, John. I'm going like, dude, that's fucking sweet. Right. What do I got to do to buy a Ferrari? Like, I really want one of those. So what plan can I put into action? Can I have a Ferrari in 6 months? Can I have one in 2 years? What do I need to do to get to the place of where John's at with his Ferrari? And that's how I live my life, man. So I'm happy for everybody that does everything. And it blows my fucking mind when people are not happy for me for the same.
You know, some people, I don't have a lot of money. I'm not rich by any extent of any means. I understand about being comfortable. I budget. I'm smart. Make sure my bills going out are always less than what I got coming in. And I could only imagine when you get to a certain point, for some people who aren't necessarily the scrappier, the more like coming from nothing, this is all I know, I've been doing it my entire life, it's probably a little bit of an easier entrepreneurial, and I don't know if everyone who's come into money or has money feels that way, but if I ever get my 100 million, or when I get my 100 million, it won't.
Yeah, it's not if, bro. It's when.
I'm not going to stop.
Yeah,
there's not a stop for me, and it's one thing I've told Caitlin. I'm like, I pray that you never ask me to push down the energy that fuels me in this entrepreneurial, growth-minded, and being an entrepreneur isn't just fiscally. I mean, being an entrepreneur in life of just exploring and becoming better in all things that you do in business and relations and networking and having relations. I think most millionaires have multiple sources of income, not just like a work or a business they own, but investments and
most do, but that's actually a lot. That's actually kind of a myth. Most they do most have multiple sources of income, but most of them have one main source. One
that
like that you get out there and you hear like, oh, I got to start 50 different companies. That 50 different, like, people can't fucking manage that.
No, usually your brick and mortar, your bread and butter that got you to where you were going. But I would say, man, keeping that passion. I've heard this, and I can't remember whose feed or timeline it was on social media, one of the influencers I have, but he said, I'm at my best when I'm on red line. And that's not for everybody.
Yep, that's how I feel, 100%.
But when I'm on red line and I feel great. Yes, it does wear me out. Yes, I do get tired. Like, yes, we need to take a 3-day vacation and then come back for a day, because 7 days may be too long. Being in that,
that's what I did last week.
Being in that state,
I came back 2 days.
Being in that state of mind.
I
mean, there's different types of entrepreneurs. People, you're still grinding, you're still going, trying to achieve more, because I think you have a higher purpose or a higher calling than some of your other entrepreneurial friends, or other people who are entrepreneurs don't have, I guess, the same purpose or same calling, which is fine. But there's no reason, like you said, wishing ill or jealousy upon anyone is only going to bring negativity into your life. Being a supporter, of people who win, that attracts the same thing into your life.
This is what I should have done. Eckhart Tolle, be cool as fuck to sit down with. He wrote The Power of Now. That's a fucking life-changing book. Check that out too. Don Miguel Ruiz, be cool as fuck to sit down with. He wrote all the agreements, the fourth and fifth agreements, or 1 through 4 and 5. Ryan Holiday, he'd be cool as shit. That's one of my favorite books is God, why can I not think of the name now? The Obstacle is the Way.
Obstacle.
David Dita, that'd be a cool one. The Way of Superior Man.
The Way of Superior Man.
Yep. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's definitely dead. That'd be a cool guy to sit down with and talk to.
I
think those are the main ones.
I would go back early century, like a Stoicism, someone from
that'd be cool
era.
too. Like this guy that's in that one book that they talk about, that Egyptian.
What's his name? Not the
I didn't want to say him yet because I haven't finished that book, so I don't feel like, I just started. I don't want to be like,
Heck, even Abe Lincoln or Dale Carnegie or some of these,
Dale Carnegie would be cool. Abe Lincoln, I don't really think that would be one of mine, but
I've read some. I mean, he's an interesting man.
No, I get it, but I feel like, dude, I want to sit down with people that are going to change my perspective and my mind, because my mind shapes everything. So if you don't change my perspective or my mind, like, you might have some cool ass stories, but if you're not helping me become better, then what the fuck's the point? Who is this guy? This is
the Ancient Hermetic.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. If you guys read that book, it's in there too. Anyways, this guy from the old Egyptians that this book's about, he's like the master of all this, which basically comes into like, it's really a early ass form of manifesting is really what it is, controlling your thoughts. It's actually this is supposed to be like the earliest form that we know of manifesting, which if you look back at the Egyptians, it's fucking wild how they knew what they knew centuries and centuries ago, like how they knew astronomy and astrology and were able to build the pyramids and the Stonehenge and all this shit. It's just fucking insane. But one thought I want to leave you guys with on that last question is like, what good is your private island if you're the only one on it?
That's right.
Like, I have nice shit and I bought nice shit, and then but guess what? If you don't have people to enjoy your nice shit with, what's the fucking point, right? It's not about the nice shit. It's not about the boat I'm posting. It's about the memories I'm going to make on that boat with my girlfriend and my son and my family and my friends. That's what it's about, right? Like, the fucking physical thing doesn't fucking matter. Is it cool to have some physical shit that you're going to enjoy by yourself, like a private jet? Yeah. Like, yeah, that's fucking cool. I can fly wherever I want. But again, it's about the experiences I'm going to make with people being able to fly wherever I want. Right? Like, it's not just about the fucking jet, but this whole point of like, guys, you have to want other people to win in your life too, not just you. Because if you are a fucking douchebag and you build and build and build, you can get wealth, you can get money, but you'll get to a point where you have everything in the world, nobody else to enjoy it with, and it's fucking pointless. So like I said this years ago, and I still stick to it. I don't really have anybody that's like with me anymore to do this as far as on this plan, I guess, right now. But I've said it before, like, dude, I want a private island with an airstrip. And I'm like, but I want my buddy to have a private island right next to my private island.
Right.
Like, let's all get private islands all next to each other so we can all fucking hang out at each other's islands all the time and live life.
Buy the whole coastline.
Like, what's the fucking point if you're on your island by yourself? There's no fucking point. And that's a whole, like, that's the same thing as, your buddy does good and you're fucking envious and jealous about it. That's the exact same thing, man. It's the exact same thing. Wish people on, root people on. It'll bring success into your own life. So I will leave it at that. This has been the Dads Who Live podcast, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. Again, please pay the fee. Give us a like, share, 5-star review. You tell a friend, they tell a friend, they tell a friend. If we added any value to you at all, which, dude, there's a lot in this podcast.
Smash the button.
Yeah, tell a friend, share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube, share it on iTunes, whatever the fuck it may be. We're on all the platforms. All those platforms and all of our apparel is on www.dadsliftapparel.com. We're on IG, Dad Slift Apparel. We're on Facebook, Dad Slift Apparel. And we have a Facebook group called Dad Slift Official, which is almost 55,000 like-minded dads trying to be the best selves and stay fit at the same time. If that's something that interests you, check that out. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and take it easy.
They told me to lie when I get cocky. Ain't it funny how they think they can stop me? Try to be me, but I'm so sorry you not me. Try to be me.